Hi guys, I've had my first real encounter with natural ambergris and I'd like to share it with you because I thought this was an interesting kind of experience. Last summer I picked up this bottle. It was a tester bottle, so I was basically given to me. I bought it for like nothing. And it's called Escale en Indonésie. It means stop over in Indonesia. And it's from the house of Les Indemodables, a French house that uses mostly natural ingredients. And I just kind of thought this was a nice, freshy. It has citruses and neroli and I think jasmine and just kind of a hint of something marine that I really couldn't detect that much. And then when I came home, I couldn't smell it at all. I mean, hardly at all. And I was really unhappy about the performance. I used it a few times. I tried combining it with a molecule fragrance. Juliet has a gun, not a perfume. And I thought maybe I got a little more out of it then, but almost nothing still. And then after the fourth wearing, then something beautiful started to emerge, and I realized I was actually meeting with natural ambergris like I never have before. I mean, I have noted that often when ambergris is listed in a perfume, I tend to like it. And I think my idea about it has been that it creates like depth and some kind of satisfying feeling in a fragrance, but I've never really been able to like smell it in itself. I haven't been able to pinpoint it. Okay, this is the ambergris, but this now I finally have. And this I can like after 5 minutes, like all those other notes that I mentioned are gone, and it's just all about ambergris. I still have it on my hand here. And I think there's some kind of resemblance with oud. I mean, there's an animalic feeling to it. It's a little bit salty. Maybe oud is not salty, but it's kind of earthy. It's a little bit sweet. It's kind of dark. It just has such a satisfying smell. It's kind of like smelling your cat's head, you know, like you just want to go back there and get more. It's just something, oh, it's so beautiful. And I'm just so excited and so happy to have this bottle. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful ambergris. And this one is a cologne. I think in this series, there are like 3 of them with different like stopovers in different parts of the world. Haven't tried any of them. This house makes Vanille Havane, which is very much spoken about. So please check into this house. I'm going to explore other fragrances there. I'm super impressed with this fragrance. I just love it. Anyway, ambergris, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's a grayish, waxy matter that is produced inside the digestive system of a sperm whale, and it is discussed whether it is vomit or if it's poop. But I think it is commonly known that it is the wonderful smell is created once these like little lumps of something from the whale have been floating around in the ocean, sometimes maybe for years, kind of like in the sun on the surface of the ocean. So these pieces can be found either like swept or like, you know, washed up on beaches or actually from the water itself. And when it's fresh, it smells really bad. But when it really hardens and has a lot of sunlight on it, I guess it gets more and more dry, perhaps, with time. And it is not forbidden to collect it because it's considered like a waste product. But you cannot kill whales to find it. And also, you can only find ambergris inside like 5% of killed whales anyway. So that's a lot of unnecessary killing for this incredible natural resource material, whatever you call it. It has been historically spoken of as floating gold or the treasures of the ocean and things like that. And it has been used for many, many years. And now I think that it's encouraged now to use other, synthetically produced ambergris. And ambroxan is a molecule found in ambergris, but I don't think they can be compared at all now that I've had the chance to actually compare natural ambergris with ambroxan. But I can see kind of what they've been trying to do. And I spoke about zoologist last week, and I mentioned squid that actually does list ambergris in the notes, but I know they don't use natural ambergris, so I'm not quite sure like what what you're allowed to say about your fragrance and what it contains, because I do see a lot of fragrances that list ambroxan and not ambergris. I also found that this was something interesting, that a lot of perfume houses don't use ambergris at all. They don't use ambroxan and they don't use ambergris. At least they don't list it. But maybe they use it, I don't know. But like my favorite house, Perfumum Roma, doesn't have a single fragrance with ambergris. Not even Acqua di Sale. They list like salt and seaweed and myrtle, I think, or something, but not ambergris. I just kind of found that interesting. But then I went to my my own collection of fragrances and tried to find the ones that have ambergris. And I found this one, that kind of a forgotten fragrance from my collection. I really like it though, still. It is described as a leather fragrance. And it does have a kind of an animalic quality to it from the leather, but it also has ambergris. I mean, it has rum, there's a little bit of booziness, it has coconut, it has some violet and other florals in here. It has the note of rice, which is really kind of unusual. And rice does have like an aromatic quality. It can really smell beautiful in fragrance. Osmanthus in there too. Osmanthus, maybe it's pronounced. I don't typically like osmanthus in fragrances, but this one has so much else in here. And I think the ambergris gives it that little extra kind of roundness. And I also find that to be true in two fragrances that I have. Actually, I dropped one on the floor. Anyway, they're Ani and Zenne from Nishane, this Turkish house. These are extraits. They're super powerful, both of them. And Ani, I don't maybe need to say so much about Ani. It's so hyped, but it's a beautiful fragrance. I think it's a little bit overpriced, perhaps, but it's a kind of a spicy vanilla, and it has just a really satisfying quality to it. And I think ambergris does play a role here. Zenne is completely different. It does have vanilla, and it kind of opens up with notes of like citrus and rhubarb. And these are really grapefruit, I think it has, and these are kind of difficult notes for me. But with the vanilla and the ambergris, I think the ambergris kind of binds the sour notes and the sweet notes together, and making it not cross that, that fence of being too sweet. So it's a really beautiful fragrance. Zenne, Z-E-N-N-E, it's spelled. You need to get your nose on that, because that is a really good fragrance. Another fragrance that has, or two other ones that have ambergris. And what happened to this one? Let's see. That are both in kind of the amber category. One of them is Opus 1144 from, I think the house is called Unum, U-N-U-M, and the perfumer is Filippo Sorcinelli from Italy. And I love his work. He has made another marine fragrance called Undamaris, and I haven't actually checked if that one has ambergris, but that is an incredible marine fragrance. This one is more of a classic amber style fragrance. It is balsamic. It has a little bit of incense. It's really, really beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of Perfumum Roma style fragrances. It has that really like brightness to it. And I think that the ambergris does play an important part in this one too, making it wonderful. And then this one is everything but bright. There's nothing bright in here at all. The only top note is musk, and that's not really a top note to my nose, but this has oud, tobacco, leather, ambergris. It's all base notes, and I think maybe I made a mistake buying it, because I think I might, in the long run, find this a little too masculine, and it's like super, super potent. And it's called This Ember, and it's an Australian indie house. I picked this up in Hungary when I was there last summer. It was recommended to me that I check out this house, and I really love it. But I think maybe it might be better on a man. It's just a stunning fragrance. It's deep, it's sweet, it's balsamic, it's smoky. It's not too smoky, it's not too sweet. It's just like, it's spicy. I mean, even just sniffing the top is almost a little strong. That's how strong it is. I would have thought this maybe be an X-ray version, but it is not. And then I also want to mention Squid, that has ambergris listed, but it's not natural ambergris, and it doesn't remind me anything of the ambergris in this fragrance. That one has That one has something. I like that one. I think it's beautifully made. It's interesting. It's a little smoky for me, and kind of vanillic and kind of powdery at the same time as being marine. But there's nothing. It's not fresh, and there's nothing like this in there. And I don't know what they use in that fragrance. If they use ambroxan or if they use something else, or if they can really list ambergris. If they don't really have real ambergris. But I think that when you find like ambergris listed, it's not necessarily the real thing. Still, maybe they decide what they put on their packaging. I'm not quite sure what the rules are. I want to find out about this. But I passed that on. I just found that was too... You can watch that video if you want to hear my thoughts on squid. But I am so happy to own this. I will keep this forever as just a reminder of if I want to smell ambergris on its own, I will go to this bottle and just... And the funny thing is I couldn't even smell it. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. And now I'm thinking maybe I can smell Baccarat Rouge 540 someday because I'm anosmic to that. I can spray it. I smell it. I can almost grip it like for 2 seconds and then it's gone completely. And then I hear other people talking about this being a beast mode fragrance. I just find that to be... I mean, I can smell so many other fragrances, so I haven't been sad about it or anything, but it would be really nice to be able to actually try it since it's such a hyped fragrance. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I find this really interesting, and it's like my nose is new every day. Anyway, those were my thoughts on ambergris. What are yours?